Hello everybody and welcome today to our presentation. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most advanced topic in business, right? And that is about the strategic management. Okay, so basically we're going to be looking on the strategy, right, and the definition of the strategy. So a strategy, it is the way you're going to achieve your work, the way you're thinking through a visionary image. Okay. So what I'm going to be accomplishing, where do I need to reach, right? So what is the strategy I should be adopting to reach to the goals and the achievement I need to produce? So it is a field of study, right, in which it looks onto what we call the strategic intent. And the strategic intent, it includes your vision as your visionary. Where do I need to be reaching to? Where I am is outstanding right now, and where do I need to go? And the mission, the actions that I should be undertaking, right, in order to accomplish that vision. Again, you as well setting up of your goals. So the goals, it is about where you're daydreaming. I need to become, for example, let's say a big businessman, right? I need to be one of the companies which they are multinational. So those are a goal or a set of goals, right? You need to take certain predetermined actions, we call them objectives, in order to achieve them on an organizational hierarchy level so that you can have a competitive advantage, right? That is, we call it a return of investment. So when we look onto our diagram, you can see that a strategy, right, it is all about having a high level plan, okay, that it outcomes that in order to achieve your goals or your set of goals within the risks are being undertaken, the uncertainty that the risks are being surrounding us. Now, in according to different sort of theorists, they had explained from their own point of view, right, the definition of a strategy. For example, in 1962, Chandler, right, he said that a strategy, it is basically your high level goals, your basic long-term goals, right? And you need to allocate resources into them in order to produce your competitive advantage, your return of investments, your economical value, okay, your market competition, okay, and as well your company outstanding. Again, we have Mansberg in 1979 outlined a different definition for a strategy, right? He said, well, a strategy, it is the midpoint in between the organization and the environment, and certain patterns or certain actions that needs to be consistent actions to be undertaken, right, in the form of making decisions, right, in order to deal with the environment, with the current environment that you have, whether your internal environment inside with the organization or your external environment such as your competitors. While in 1997, Porter explained the strategy, it is being of a different nation, okay, different nation. So every product has a mixture of value, and that's what compromises a product from another, different from another product, and that is the value that it produces to the community. While according to Berhad 1993, he said that strategy, it doesn't have to do with resource allocation, but it is to achieve your strategy, you need to stretch out and leverage your resources. So those were the different theorists whom they had a visionary image for a definition of the strategy from their own means. Now, when it comes to Mansberg, right, when we talk about Mansberg, we said that Mansberg, he stated that we do have different patterns, different locations, right, different decision makings in order to achieve the strategy. So, and according to Mansberg, right, we do have 5 P's of a strategy, and that is the 5 P's. It is about the plan. How do I get there? That's the first thing. So that's the first question we ask. And that's your visionary, right? How do I, where I am and how do I reach there? The pattern, it is the consistency of actions that I'm going to undertake in order to move from point A to point B. And the position, what is the sort of product or service I'm going to outreach the market with. Deploy, what about my competitors? How I'm going to wet out my competitors? How I'm going to screen up my competitors? How I'm going to let's say, in other words, in that they are unable to reach me, right? How to block them from my site, right? And then I have the perspective. and that is the vision of the direction that I have undertaken with my company, where I have reached, where is my current outstanding standing at the current moment. So when we look onto the level of business, and that's what makes up we call the strategic formulation. It is you need to look onto the from the top of the company, right? We have the corporate strategy, the business strategy, the operational strategy, the functional strategy. And every level you will have at the corporate strategy, the corporate level manager who's managing that corporate level, who could be the CEO, the manager director. Okay, the business strategy, we have a business level management. You have your sales manager, sales director, your marketing director, unit. Functional strategy, right? It is the functional unit or head of department of every unit, right? Whom they make sure that they produce a market segmentation, right? From the products and the service they deliver, okay, with a good quality that will outreach the market. Operational, whom formalizes the whole corporate business and the functional throughout the utilization of the resources and to produce that output. So at the corporate strategy level, okay, it is being based on the top of the organization, right? And it is about the decisions are being taken so that you can have a growth, okay, a direction for the company, where we are heading, where's the company is moving, okay? Business strategy, we have business units, right, in which they are able to emphasize their improvements, okay, and from their competitive position, okay, for the product or the service they produce. For example, today at B7, right, agency, we do have our products, right, is that we do deliver digital market solutions. We provide with the media buying. We do provide with as well search engine optimizations. We do provide with strategic plan, branding. And when it comes to software, we do provide with application software, SaaS, software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service, and mobile and web development as well. So those are the dilemmas that we use them in order to make us an outbound, an outreach to the market. Again, business strategies being part of the corporate strategy we're looking. Functional strategy, and it is basically your functional unit, right? How each one improves into the product and the objectives that need to produce. So it is looking onto your market segmentation, right? So for example, like if we look at an example, Coca-Cola and Pepsi, right? They are already a brand name, right? But they keep on performing still promotions and still performing branding through their name so that they reserve their identity, okay? So to say that here, guys, we are consistent into the market, okay? So that's the functional strategy. The operational strategy recombines the corporate, the business, and the functional strategy with the utilization of the resources in order to achieve the long-term goals and the short-term, the tactical approach through the competitive advantage. So when we look on the basic model of strategic management, we do have environmental scanning, and that is the place where we have the marketing analysis being performing environmental scanning. What are the internal factors affecting the organization? What are the external factors, right, that affect the organization? Like we have the competitors are the first thing, right? Our identity into the market, our website, right? Does it really present our identity? So those are environmental factors. Internally, do we have interference from top executives, the owner, on the resources, right? That they could cause a deflation to the company, that could cause a real economic crisis, okay, to the organization, right? From taking drastic decisions, okay? Strategic formulation, has to deal with the SWOT analysis, with the corporate level, okay? The decisions are being taken. Strategic implementation, what you're going to produce, your product, your portfolio, your program, your procedures, your policies, okay? Evaluation, it is the measurements, right? They're taken and the action taken from each measurement. So this is your basic model of your strategic management, okay? Now, when it comes to a difference, there's a lot of questions and debate. What is the difference between a goal and the objectives? Remember, a goal, it's your daily dreamer, something which is intangible, something you cannot touch it, something that you might achieve, might not achieve. For example, my goal is to become a millionaire. I might or I might not. So it's something which is intangible, while the objective is something which is tangible, right? That you can say, my objective is that I will have 15% of the Europe, let's say, or MENA market share, right? So I have a certain objective to achieve a specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. So they are both intangible, abstract, a goal. And for example, to run profits, you need to increase your revenue and reduce your expenses. Okay. But when it comes to SMART, for example, I have an objective, right, to raise up the sales by 12%. Okay. And that will cause to have a new 3 clients every month. Okay. While when it comes to expenses, right, I need to look for another premises which is more cheaper. Okay. So when it comes to SMART, you're being specific. So specific is easy to understand and it's very clear. Okay. So I'm very specific. I'm very precise, right? I'm very clear. Okay. That I have a good understanding. Where do I need to go? What I'm going to accomplish. And that comes from expertise. Measurable. I'm able to quantify, right, the objectives, right, I'm achieving. I'm able to measure how much I am performing. Okay. Achievable, and that's possible to be attained. It is something which I am definite and I'm promising that that thing is gonna occur. Realistic, right? I'm able to achieve that thing. So I'm more than realistic. Time bound, it's a time frame that you're going to accomplish every of those objectives, and they should not exceed or should not, they could be less than the specified time, but they should not exceed. So what is the benefit of having in place a strategic management? So when we look onto the mission, the way we're going to accomplish the work, so there is a philosophy that I'm going to formalize to it. I'm going to approach, I'm going to take, I'm going to have certain policies and procedures that I will be undertaking. So when it comes to the philosophy, that means I have philosophy towards my objectives, developing a certain strategy, and through the policies, I will have a certain standards. So what happens is that the return on investment, once I apply strategic management, I will able to have a proactive in shaping of the firm's future. I'm able from today to say, if I'm taking a preliminary startup organization, if I am utilizing my plan and my methodology and my thinking without interference of any of the shareholders, okay, I'm able to move the company from one position to another position. And that will be seen throughout the time as we are progressing. And that's a learning curve. Okay. But if there is an interference from owners or from any co-founders, right, from the to the general manager or the general director in his plans, so that's going to perform a disobedience. Okay. And this successfully. So improve understanding of the competitive advantage, why I am performing a strategic plan. So the strategic management, right, that I'm going to produce, it's going to return me an investment. That's the competitive advantage. Awareness of threats, again, from throughout my objectives, my SWOT. So what are the threats that are going to be happening, right? Interference of the owner into the organization, okay? On building the structure of the organization, in operation of the organization, right? That will have a direct impact on the procedural work, okay, of the organization. In team building of that, it will cause a deformation of team building. Again, you have to reduce the resistance of a change, okay? So that when you have a strategic management, the fear of moving from manual work to digitalization, right? When you have a plan and you show how things will be more maneuvered and more easily being utilized, that will help us in order to move and make people to think about movement into the technology. So even we will have enhanced the problem and preventive capabilities. So we will be able to have proactive and preventive actions and measures undertaking before the problem it becomes to protrude further and further. Better strategies, we're going to have a formulation of better strategies throughout the time. My strategy might not work at the first time, so I might have a backup plan for a strategy to be working. So when we look onto the strategic control process, we do have what we call the strategic intent, which I have mentioned in the earlier from the 2 slides in front. So your strategic intent is basically your vision, your mission, and your objectives. The formulation has to deal with the SWOT analysis, which is included in your market plan, the corporate level, your business, and the strategic plan. And then the implementation, the projects, the procedures, the portfolio, the allocation of the resources, and the behavior. And then you have the strategic evaluation, which I need to perform analysis. What did I accomplish? And you assess and measure towards that, and the proactive actions to be taken. So what happened is that we have a current strategy, and that's the corporate level strategy, and we do have external environment, okay, and we do have the internal environment. So we need to assess the current environment, okay, strategy, and we give recommendation, okay. So we have goals and future to perform, okay, which will the goals as well need to be assessed. So current strategy, we're assessing the goals in the future we need to perform. In the forecast, we again assess them and we give recommendations. So when you join with us the consultation courses from Strategic Management, you'll be able to have the preliminary knowledge of strategic management, analysis, strategic formulation, analysis tools and techniques, and how to evaluate and to measure and control your work. Thank you very much for your time. It has been a great pleasure. Ich danke Ihnen, okay, and wish you to see you on